If you've been paying attention to the latest video game releases and reward shows, talk around gaming, I think it's undeniable that Western gaming has kind of been falling off, at least in the AAA department. And to me, this is something that, like, for me personally, I feel like I've always known, but the current public is slowly coming to terms with. And that's just that Western gaming is kind of mid. Okay, I'm just trying to troll. It's easy to say right now that Western gaming is not doing so hot, but it's not like Western gaming has never been good. I mean, Fallout 3, the moment I left the vault, that was like the most memorable experience in gaming I've ever had in my life. And Fear, low-key, the greatest shooter I've ever played of all time. But we'll talk about all that in a minute. It's just my personal preference that I want to talk about. Not necessarily saying that this is the end-all be-all opinion, but I just always gravitated towards Japanese, Korean, and just Eastern gaming in general. And it's not like I was trying to, it's just kind of what has always happened throughout the years. And I just kind of want to use this video to talk about my personal gripes with Western gaming, and by extension, why I think these games haven't been doing so hot recently. But before I go in on Western gaming and why it's not as good nowadays, there was actually a time, the good old days, when Western games were actually peak. A time when the playing field was actually a lot more even. Like I said earlier, growing up I didn't find myself playing too many Western games, but I did have a friend. It was a white friend for reference. I just say that because this was the type of game I would never try on my own. But he handed me his copy of Oblivion and he said, play this shit, you're gonna love it. Now, at first, I did like Oblivion, but my issue with it was super medieval and I just wasn't into that stuff, really. And I said to him, this game's pretty fun. And I did have fun I became a vampire and joined the Bloodhood cult or whatever. But I said this game would be better if I had guns. I play first person shooter, I want to shoot guns, not, cast fireballs. So then Fallout came out. I got lost in that game. Like, literally, I left the vault and went the wrong direction and just got lost. And it was one of my greatest gaming experiences. I was glued to that game for like a month. I had never played a game so open next to like GTA. That was also a crazy experience. GTA San Andreas was like a defining video game experience for a lot of kids growing up. It was just the game to play. I talked about Fear a little bit earlier, but Fear had some of the craziest AI I've ever fought in a video game, and I used to play that game late at night. It was like playing through a horror film, and it kept me up at night. I'm not gonna lie, I was very young. And Fear 2, the ending traumatized me. I felt violated, I'm not gonna lie. So I fell off the series after that. Anyway, I'm just rambling about some of my good times I've had playing Western gaming. So why do I hate Western gaming so much? Why did I make this video? Well, first of all, the politics in gaming is getting ridiculous in Western games.
Danger. Algernon smelled danger.
Whatever the reason, we made it through. And this time, no dragon escaped.
Thanks to Tosh.
That's why we recruited her.
Actually, Tosh uses them for themselves now.
They asked us to let folks know, so now you do.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Thank you for telling me. That's why we recruited them. So what's our next move, Rook? Arlithin, right?
I'm pulling a barf!
And this is a recent problem, but it's the most prevalent problem with Western gaming right now, I think. So let's talk about this first and foremost. Western games have no idea how to talk about politics in a nuanced or meaningful way, and it's very obvious. And you'll hear a lot of people say, take the politics out of gaming, but I don't think that's the problem, because games like Metal Gear Solid exist. In my humble opinion, it's the lack of nuance or understanding from both sides. Everything's black and white when it comes to politics in Western gaming. There's an inability to produce a thought-provoking narrative whenever it comes to politics. It's usually just my side's good, your side's bad. At best, the writers come off as selfish, only expressing their personal gripes in an unrelatable way. And at worst, it's intolerant, condescending, looking down on the audience, or downright calling the audience stupid or problematic. I mean, shit, even Fallout had more of a lighthearted take on politics and just didn't take itself too seriously in whatever message it was trying to express. More of a parody of politics, if anything. Like, why can't we get back to that in video games rather than talking about identity, gender crises every 2 seconds that is most likely unrelatable to like 99% of the audience? And it's okay to like talk about things like that, but you got to do it in a meaningful or like constructive, relatable way. Not in a way that literally pushes your audience away. And I promise I'm not some right winger. It's just that obvious in gaming these days. Whatever happened to the authenticity, the art, the expression in Western storytelling? It's like non-existent. Obviously there's some exceptions, but still. It feels like the games we've been making have been devoid of anything thought-provoking or heartfelt. It's usually a company chasing a bag or virtue signaling, following trends, unsuccessfully. Let me know if I'm being too harsh on Western gaming. I just feel like perfectly good games that would have been 9s or 10s end up 6 or 7s because of some diversity quota that feels strapped onto the game. The irony is, I feel like this is the only issue where both sides can see eye to eye, because at the end of the day, minorities don't like being looked down on, and the right wingers are just intolerant. But either way, it feels like all sides of the spectrum are getting fed up with this. This one is mostly just a personal thing, but I really want to let it be known and make it clear that this is just my opinion. It's mostly just the me thing, you know how commoners get. But I just don't like how Western games seem to focus on realism so much. I don't know if I'm the only one who's noticed this, but when it comes to Western games, they always tend to be drawn towards a realistic art style or art direction, and just trying to make everything look exactly one-to-one to real life. And to me, that's just ugly as hell, personally. Not only do most realistic graphics age like milk over time, it also leads to a lot less creativity in the art direction department, in my opinion. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Western games, they got no drip, they got no sauce, they got no aura. Like, have you ever noticed that? Why is that? Why don't Western devs think to make things look cool? I am being dead ass when I say that I think every developer team should hire one black dude on the team. Doesn't even know anything about coding, just knows how to dress. Because some of y'all need help. Like, are y'all trying to make shit look ugly on purpose? I don't get it. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe that's just me. I'm just saying. Okay, one more thing I don't really understand about Western gaming when it comes to the obsession with realism is the severe lack of imagination for me. It's like gaming, to me, is a hobby based on escapism. So why would I want to imagine myself in the middle of World War II? Like, that stuff happens in real life. I'm not trying to be there. Or, you know, self-inserting that I'm Kobe Bryant shooting the three. Like, I can get the immersion and the self-insertion, but to me, there's just so much more potential in this medium of imagination that is gaming, that to me, gaming is an art form. I find, why would I fantasize about something like fantasy football when I could fantasize about a whole different universe? I mean, maybe I'm autistic, maybe I need to grow up, but me personally, I'm an artist. Like, down the line, the end goal is for me to start making my own comics, my own, or at least contributing to video games in some form. Just, I'd like to be a part of creating something artistic. It could be video games, that's whatever. That could be this YouTube video I'm making. So that's where I come from when it comes to my entertainment. I like to be taken out of the world. So if that makes any sense to anyone at all, that's basically where I'm coming from. Basically what I'm saying is, that's why foreign Eastern games appeal to me more. I find that they appeal to fantasy more often than Western games, which have a huge obsession with realism. Basically, what I'm saying is, I'd rather be playing Monster Hunter than Call of Duty. I'd rather see some ancient magical sword fire off a beam that looks like a Kamehameha with amazing choreography and Sakuga, if I'm saying that right. Lastly, a bit of a nitpick, but Westerners, y'all make too many first-person shooters. Too many, guys. Let's do something else, Western devs. Too many shooters. And extra points if it's a zombie shooter. I see one more zombie first-person shooter. Not even third-person. First-person. I played a lot, and I mean a lot, of Call of Duty as a kid, to the point where I kind of gassed myself out, burnt myself out of first-person shooters, and kind of got tired of the genre. So I kind of look at a first-person shooter the same way most people look at a racing game. So you can understand why a company like Xbox would hold not as much appeal to me if first-person shooters are not my first choice of game to play. That being said, games like Marvel Rivals and My Hero Ultra Rumble, you've probably never heard of that game. Games like this have gotten me into first-person shooters, so I'm slowly getting back into that. The issue is muscle memory has not grown for like 10 years, so I keep getting cooked when I play games like these. Like, y'all are demons when it comes to first person shooting, especially when you gotta work with a console like me. I don't know how you guys do it. That being said, like, I don't completely hate first person shooters. I'll play a first person shooter if it has a unique twist, like say a BioShock, a Fallout, a No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk. I've never played Portal, but that game seems right up my alley. So I don't know, I guess I don't completely hate first-person shooters, but they're not my favorite genre, and I just feel like the West just is obsessed with first-person shooters. And yeah, I recognize a lot of what I say in this video is some of it personal, but some of it is objective fact to me. Like, you can't tell me politics is not ruining Western gaming. But anyway, let me know your experience with games in the West. What are your favorite games? Why do you love or dislike Western gaming? One thing I forgot to say I'll give Western games is the controls are much better than Eastern games. Eastern games always feel overly complicated, to me at least. Western gaming, it's like squares to attack, X to jump, circle to dodge. Very straightforward. But those are just my opinions. Let me know what y'all think. Peace.